tragedy and cash. The problem you have is this. There's no other punishment other than money. Welcome back to Under Oath. A 10-year-old Boy Scout was killed in a jet ski accident at the Boy Scouts of America summer camp at Old Hickory Lake. It occurred. The young man, Jack, was riding, collided with another jet ski. Both were being run by camp staff, and Jack died. Jack's parents have decided to file a $10 million wrongful death suit against the Boy Scouts, accusing them of reckless behavior, that the jet skis were operated at high speeds, jumping wakes, and created, just an unsafe environment. Now, I understand this because of what we do for a living. But in this end, let's break this down. What do we have to prove? Forget the facts. Let's just break it down what we have to prove.
From the lawsuit standpoint?
Damages are clear.
Oh, yeah. You got the death of the child. That's the damages. And was the death
How do you put it at $10 million? I don't know.
Was the result because of the negligence on the operation of the jet skis?
Break it down for our listeners. Negligence means that somebody had a duty.
Sure. So
failed at that
sue
duty.
The Boy Scouts. Technically, you'd sue the Boy Scouts of America as the organization and the individual driver of the jet ski as their employee or agent. You would sue them both, and you would allege that they both had a duty to the kid, and the duty was to ensure that they weren't put in an unreasonable amount of danger, that they were reasonably safe at all times.
Okay, the first part, so that people know that they had a duty and they failed in it. And they were speeding or doing something.
Yeah, so the parents trust the Boy Scouts
caused the death of their child.
They were acting negligently,
right.
And that negligence
caused the
crash or the tragedy or the accident, whatever you want to call it, and then the damages resulted from that accident.
But why $10 million?
Well, that is probably just to grab headlines. The attorney, I don't think a jury says a little boy's life is a $10 million damage
But they sued
award.
for 10. They gave a number.
Sure, they want the Boy Scouts to take it seriously.
Well, why
and
not
they
say
probably
50?
want the news media to take it seriously. If they sue for $1 million, I mean, do news channels even carry it?
Trump just got hit for $350 million in a situation where somebody lived. So how do we determine these figures? We gave a family in Texas, was it $500 million or around there?
Well, you're asking a question that there's not a precise answer to.
Well, I want
Is that your point?
That's my point.
Okay.
My point is I want people to understand putting a value on something is insane. And the only person who can make that final decision is in a death case, not in a case where you can add up medical costs and everything else like that. But in a case where you can't put a price on it, okay, what is the value of a kid's life? I mean,
it doesn't really even matter what the actual value is. What can you convince a jury the value is? That's really the question. Because to put a number on somebody's life is impossible. That's impossible to do.
Now, certain states, a lot of people don't realize, certain states, there's not an unlimited amount. You have to put a specific amount, and that's all you can get. Like some states, you can go in there and say, well, damages over a certain amount, and the state could give you $7 billion if they want. I mean, you could argue later that it was excessive and everything else, but certain states require an exact amount. You can't exceed that amount. Like Tennessee, for example,
so where was this, Texas? I don't know if Texas is like that. Tennessee is, Florida is not. In Florida, you just have to say it's at least this amount. But in Tennessee, you're right. You have to put the specific amount. So maybe it's one of those situations where they want at least $10 million. So they have to plead that so that later on, if the jury gives, 12 or 13 million, yeah, they'll be happy, but they at least secured their 10.
Now here's where you get in problems. I remember summer camp. I went a long time ago. I mean, a long damn time ago, before the internet. And there was
before jet skis.
Yes. There was a golf cart. I mean, I got golf. I mean, what are those little carts that people ride?
Golf carts.
No, not golf ones. The ones that kids get in. And they went go-karts.
Go-karts.
And one of the go-karts flipped and really screwed this kid up. And this kid was driving it and he disappeared. And then one kid got on a rope that snapped, that was swinging into a river and got hurt, and we didn't see him again. And I know that the parents sued, and this was 40, 50 years ago. Now that I think about it, probably around 30 years ago. And now we have the same things. We have the same issues. And the question was always asked, well, that means that these kids are only going to be allowed to, you're allowed to make macrame beads. We're not going to allow you to play soccer because you get sued now for being out in the sun too long.
We're going to go to camp, and you're going to do paintings and basket weaving.
Only water, because we can't trust the oil-based paints.
You're going to learn. You're gonna learn how to cook.
No, but it's all gonna be cold.
No, there might be oil. Yeah. You learn how to make sandwiches.
I don't know. They might be gluten free. They might have an issue with it. But you see where we're going. Everything.
Yeah, and it's tragic. It's absolutely tragic. You have to be able to, especially with young boys. Young boys need to be, particularly with young boys, they need to be able to engage in dangerous activities, but in a safe way.
Exciting.
Boxing, football, fencing, wrestling.
Why do you keep women out of that?
These are things, because we're talking about the Boy Scouts, and we're talking specifically about boys. Yeah, but women don't need to engage in dangerous activity. Why am I getting in trouble?
Caitlin Clark? It's dangerous. I watch her get hurt on the court.
Well, that's a limited amount of danger. You're not going to get hurt really that bad.
How about we allow every kid to have to increase their ability to put up with crap? Can we do that? That's it. It's about adventure. We were trying to push these kids' boundaries so they can achieve great things later on and deal with adversity. I think that was the concept.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, we're doing that.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
All right, so the boy or girl needs to be able to engage in dangerous activity, but in a safe way.
Okay, well, how safe? That they can't possibly get hurt?
No, and we don't want that, because this is what, and I hate to say it, it's attorneys like us.
We don't do this.
That are forcing all of the fun.
Not like us.
Out of everything.
Not like us. We're the fun attorneys.
Yeah, well, attorneys like us are forcing the fun out of everything. I mean, this one dude got thrown out of a balloon.
That was something else.
Well, you have to be able to go, think about it. No kid wants to go to summer camp to sit on the back of a jet ski.
No kid wants to go to summer camp.
To go 4 miles an hour on the water. Like, that's not fun.
The only one who wants to go to summer camp are the parents who don't want to deal with the kids. We get 6 weeks off.
If you're gonna make them go to summer camp, then they at least want to do something fun. And it's not fun going the speed that you would be going if you were in a canoe on the lake on a jet ski. That's not fun. That's not fun for anybody.
So there has
the
to be
reason
danger.
You have a jet ski, the reason you have dirt bikes is to take the jump, is to jump over the waves, is to see how fast you can make that turn without falling off and into the water. That's why you have these things. They're meant to be enjoyed, and part of the enjoyment is, yes, it's a little risky.
All right. Let's take away the negligence. What if the camp has been following all the safety protocols and this accident still happened? They kept the jet ski under a certain amount. There's some government agency that says jet skis under this amount should be safe. And
we had a governor on the jet ski.
The governor, and it just so happens this one jet ski bumped another jet ski.
Just so happened.
These, human error. Just not something that they're acting unreasonably, but just human error. I mean, accidents happen. We actually have a case like that, but where the scalpel broke off in the person, and it's now, I'm not making this up, people. It's now deemed reasonable that scalpels will break during surgery, and that nobody's responsible for it.
No, Jeff, you're misrepresenting it.
I don't feel I was. I don't like what our expert said that one time.
No, here's the issue you're talking about is it medical malpractice.
I get it. It's unreasonable
for a instrument to have broken off in the medical instruments break all the time,
and they don't notice.
That doesn't mean the doctor
and that they don't notice
selecting.
And they don't notice it.
Yes,
that's reasonable
because the break is so small.
No, it was a core. It was easily half an inch. When the person monitoring the tray goes, well, that scalpel doesn't look like the same way it was before. But when that becomes acceptable, that's reasonable. I don't trust standards. Standards are made up by people who are trying to save people money, and normally rich companies.
Standards are really to account for the lowest common denominator in a given situation, you have to be able to at least do this. If you can't do at least this, you can't be a doctor. If you can't lift this much, you can't be on the Olympic team. If you can't run at least this fast, you can't be on this team. So the standards are there to make sure that the least capable people do not participate in things that require high capability.
Okay. Except when it comes to liability. I think liabilities or standards are actually bought and paid for by the insurance companies. And we discovered that about a year and a half ago when our boy Governor DeSantis decided to basically make it impossible to hold people responsible.
That's not true.
For their
Make it
actions.
impossible.
And
That's not
what
true.
we did was when he decided to slip this bill in and try to go it, we went after him.
The tort reform, well, yeah, we went after him as far as we could.
And
but
we were able to get certain adjustments. But this is a guy who goes, hey, listen, I think the only medical bills should be owed were based on the government, what the government would pay for him. Even though the government isn't paying for these people's damages.
No,
they have
that's
to go
just
to real
a
doctors.
factor for the jury to decide what
we
is
have
reasonable.
to take it to court, though.
Yes,
we
we
have
do.
to file on it for a jury to make the decision. And that was an exception that we had to fight for while our governor was too busy trying to run for president and getting paid by the insurance companies to promote this candidacy that worked real well for you, Mr. DeSantis.
All right, this seems like a little bit of a political aside, not
No,
so
it's
much
not.
about the Boy
It's not
Scouts
political.
anymore.
It's about hurting average people. It has nothing to do with his political affiliation.
Well,
Democrats
do you
can be
agree-
bought too.
Do you agree that certain dangerous activities should be participated in by kids and supervised by adults?
Yeah. And I think here are a couple things. There are some issues that I could have died a bunch of times doing the crazy crap I did, and especially even in the Army later on. But I took a lot of risks as a kid, which allows me to take a lot of business risks as an adult. It definitely did change the way I'm able to be
So it's
productive in
you
society.
agree it's a good idea for kids to learn how to manage dangerous situations.
You know, now that we know certain things, we can make things safer. Like we didn't wear helmets when we rode bicycles. Yeah, helmet looks dumb as hell. Just does. The kid on the bicycle, you look
I
like,
still don't wear the helmet. I refuse.
but you know it's necessary. It's necessary
No,
for
it's
a
not.
kid.
No, I don't even make my kid
For
wear
example, heading in soccer.
a helmet. I'm gonna say it. I don't make my kid wear
For
a
example,
helmet.
they found out that heading in soccer, when you hit your head with it, that if you do it before 14, it affects your cognitive abilities.
Mhm.
That they go, yeah, you shouldn't be, to play this game, you shouldn't be doing this at like 10 or 11. You know, just certain things like that we find out later on that they're not good for us. We probably should avoid doing them. You know, enough people got ejected out of the back of pickup trucks that they said, hey, how about face backwards?
You can
and not
avoid
hang out
doing
the-
everything. Eventually, you can avoid doing everything.
We learn better things. Seatbelts. I know you don't like to wear yours,
I hate wearing.
but the fact is this, we do know that seatbelts save lives.
They do.
does
Sure,
us.
they do.
But we didn't have to do it. Now they force us to.
I force you. Man.
Oh well, you
Unless
can,
I'm in your car.
yeah. Phone beeps for like 60 minutes while he's doing this. But I mean, you're talking about this issue dealing with these kids, and yeah, I used to ride jet skis in a dangerous manner.
They're
just the way
made
it
to
was.
be ridden in a dangerous manner. The whole idea is to use them in a dangerous manner. And they need to be, this is a product that needs to exist. We have to have things where kids can go out, learn to be adventurous. And unfortunately, sometimes a kid will have a terrible, horrible tragedy happen. And it's not anyone's fault in particular. You were doing the thing that you were supposed to do, and it just happened.
It's sad. I still don't. For people out there, you know, they're going, oh, it's attorneys making money. It's everything else. Tragedy and cash. The problem you have is this. There's no other punishment other than money when something is wrong. And I'm not saying this issue was wrong.
Let's talk about the negligence. What is negligent operation of a jet ski? If the jet ski is really designed to be used in a way that's kind of dangerous, and if you use it in that way, the way that it's meant to, the way that everybody knows it is going to actually be used,
We know what happens.
if you do that thing that everybody knows you're going to do when you buy a jet ski, then isn't the standard going to change?
No. For example, let's say these two guys were going, oh, we created this game called Tag.
We're gonna bump each other's
Or
jet skis.
when somebody goes, okay, we're gonna spray the people down, and they do that big turn where they try to lean over and soak the next guy, and they take it too far and like literally knock this dude out of the water. They hit the dude so hard. And you've seen this happen when a guy tries to slide in and soak a whole area, and he goes too far and he either hits the person or the boat that he's doing this into.
Correct.
We agree you shouldn't do that.
That might be taking it too far. But the idea that you're spraying somebody.
It could be expected.
But what if you spray somebody, they get hit in the face, they fall off of their jet ski, hit their head on the dock?
It's all relative.
Right.
So if he
I mean, this is the kinds of things that you should expect.
But it's an accident.
Right. But that's the kind of thing that you are going to have to expect when you're on a jet ski or participating in that kind of activity. I mean, at one point, if you're playing football, you can't complain that you broke your knee because someone tackled you.
But what if they found out, for example, the horse collar tackles, that these things will break your legs and your neck? And
yeah, that's the rule. But before that rule, but who cares? Before that rule, it was allowed, and you had to expect
but we get better.
The players were going to do the things that are allowed.
We get safer now.
Yeah,
we just do. All right. Based on that, guilty or not guilty? Responsible or not responsible?
I don't know enough about how the jet skis collided. If it was a situation where he was trying to spray the other kid, yeah, that probably is taking it too far. You're being too dangerous on an activity that we all know is going to be at least somewhat dangerous. You made it worse by exponentially increasing the fact that there would be a collision.
And what about the throttle speed? How fast? What if they both had it gunned and it was just like crazy?
Yeah, no, I don't think that's necessarily if you're just going fast, they're made to go fast.
So are cars, but we don't go at 200 miles an hour. It's not smart to do at certain places. Your speed is dependent on your situation. So if you're going right at somebody, it's probably not good to have it at full throttle.
I don't think you should be playing chicken with the other jet ski guy.
Oh, you know that's what they were doing.
That they shouldn't have done that.
That's what was happening. Because you probably would have done it too at that age.
If they were racing, though, and they're trying to go around a cone, and I don't know that would necessarily fall into the category.
The fact is this: they don't give you enough facts. They said they were acting recklessly.
Well, it's the news. They never give you enough to make
high jumps, jumping wakes, stuff like that. But that's what they do, and you push the limits, and that's what people do on jet skis. They do things that is outside their capability, and they do it because it's fun and it gets your stuff going. But at the same time, they could be wrong for doing it. But we'll find out more facts later on.